So while you're working on technique, you can still improve your golf. Here's how. So as well as the technical changes you're making in your game, and yes, they are massively important, sometimes, yeah, let's be honest, they can take a while to, see some changes. Doesn't mean you have to go backwards or you just won't improve or it's going to take a long time. You can still improve your golf by having relevant skill tasks or task-based sort of games or skill development games relevant to the technique you're working on. So let's say you're hitting the ball at the heel of the club because of, and it could be many reasons, you might extend or move forward or over the top from the inside, whatever that is. Let's say you're finding the heel of the club too often. One very simple thing that is often overlooked by a lot of players is just where on the club face you strike the ball. So we've got TrackMan here, which is nice. You can have face spray on your club. And then one thing we did with the T-Box members, which is where we are now, the other night, was just finding out where on the club face you strike it and intentionally moving that strike around to get to know where the club is in the space around your body. So if you are someone that's hitting at the heel, it might seem like a short-term fix just to strike the toe of the club, but that combined with the technical stuff you're working on will improve your ball striking, which is like number one thing when it comes to hitting better shots and scoring better on the golf course. So you can make this challenge as hard or as easy as you want for the mid to high handicappers. It can be as simple as just hitting the toe of the club, the heel of the club, and then something on the middle. So as a mid to high handicapper, you might again set up at the middle of the club. And we're going to intentionally, for the first 4 shots, try and find the heel of the club. And how you do this, again, will have a knock-on effect to your technique. Some 8mm towards the heel. If you wanted to go as a more advanced player, you might go more extreme heel, slight heel, that type of thing. But you can make that as relevant to your level as you want. So you can do, as a beginner, 4 shots at the heel of the club. Right, so setting up again, as you would do normally, I'm then going to go for the toe of the club. And just a bit toey that one as well. Felt a small twist in the club face. And you'll start to get that sensation, awareness when you do this more often. So it was slightly heely, slightly toey. You could make it more extreme. You could do a lot of shots in a row as a beginner. So heel of the club 4 times, toe of the club, and then find the center for the last 2. Yourself 10 shots. Or you might go 5 rounds, something else we do for a more advanced player. 2 rounds, but first round, very heely, slight heely, very toe, slight toe, then the middle, repeat that twice. And that variation just makes it tougher. Again, for the sort of lower handicappers. But that change in, or that intent to strike a different part of the club face will have a knock-on effect to your technique. So while you're working on technique, you can still do things. This is just a striking one. There's many more that will have an effect and improve your golf. Another one you can do is, so club face control. Now, again, you can change the parameters on this, depends on your level. We're going to go for starting the ball somewhere on line. We'll call that up to 4 degrees, plus or minus. And if you haven't got the tech, most ranges will have like a top trace and in range, which will give you launch direction, start point, start line, whatever. And side total should be there as well. If you haven't, just use markers on the range that you think's fair in terms of a fairway or green width, or even just some sticks on the range out in front and see if you can start it between those. So we're looking for plus or minus 4, side total 40, but there's a little catch to this. We're going to start the club face either extremely closed, slightly closed, extremely open, slightly open, and you're going to try and control the club in the swing. Again, for this will have, again, multiple uses. So if you're working on something that might involve some sort of shaft lean, if you start the club face super closed and you don't change much in your backswing to get the face open, that is one way you could do it. If you're working on club path and you haven't been used to swing the club out to the right, but you're told you've got to hit the target with a closed face, it might make sense to swing that way. You can use this for lots of, again, variations or things to complement the technique you're working on. Again, at the moment, we're looking at just a bit of skill. So we're starting, let's go extremely closed and try and start and keep this quite straight. So I'm going to try and get the face much more open at impact. See how we do. So launch direction is good. It's got miles left though. So started it well, didn't quite have the end point. So if you're scoring, that would be a fail on this one. And again, do the same with the open club face, closed club face. So something we did with the members, those guys at T-Box or people I teach, you'll have stuff that you can do in between. Like I said, it will complement your technique that you're working on. But in the meantime, rather than just technique for your whole hour practice, you need some element of skill development, particularly as we're going into the golf season.